In the hazy summer of 1994, Jared Wiggins, a seemingly carefree hitchhiker, roamed the highways and backroads of the American West. His long, unkempt hair and tie-dye shirts made him blend in seamlessly with the counterculture scene, a peace-loving drifter who could have been mistaken for any number of nomadic hippies. But Jared harbored a dark secret. He was a cold-blooded serial killer, his weapon of choice a small hatchet he carried in his worn-out backpack. For over 2 years, from May 1993 to August 1995, Jared's seemingly aimless wanderings took him across Washington state, Oregon, Nevada, and Arizona. He preyed on the vulnerable and the kind-hearted, those who offered him rides or shared their campsites. His method was simple yet brutal, a swift, silent attack with his hatchet, leaving his victims with little chance to react or cry for help. Jared's first kill was in the dense forests of Washington state. He had hitched a ride with a young couple, Lisa and Mark, who were heading to a music festival. They camped together for the night, sharing stories and laughter around a fire. In the early hours, while the couple slept, Jared struck. The first blow was to Mark's head, followed by a flurry of strikes to Lisa. He left their bodies hidden under a pile of leaves, taking only their car to put distance between himself and the scene. Over the following months, Jared perfected his routine. He would hitchhike along highways, accept rides, and offer to share campsites or secluded spots. He was charming, always ready with a smile and a story. His victims never saw the danger coming. In Oregon, he killed a solo traveler named Greg, who had offered him a ride to Portland. In Nevada, a group of 3 friends met their end in the desolate desert, their bodies found days later by another traveler. By the time Jared reached Arizona, he had claimed 13 lives. Each murder left a trail of grief and confusion, but the transient nature of his lifestyle and the randomness of his attacks made it difficult for authorities to connect the dots. He moved through the West like a shadow, always disappearing before anyone realized the true extent of his crimes. In the summer of 1995, Jared found himself back in Washington state. He wandered through the small towns and forests, feeling an unexplainable draw to the place where his spree had begun. It was in the outskirts of Moses Lake, a sleepy town with sprawling farmlands and quiet roads, that his luck finally ran out. Jared had been hitchhiking along a desolate stretch of road when a middle-aged man named Tom offered him a ride. Tom was a local farmer, heading back home after a long day in the fields. They struck up a conversation, and Jared, sensing an opportunity, suggested they stop at a secluded spot he knew nearby for a rest. As they pulled off the main road and into the woods, Jared prepared for his next kill. But this time, something went wrong. As they walked deeper into the forest, Tom noticed Jared's hand slipping into his backpack. Sensing danger, Tom bolted, running as fast as he could through the trees. Jared gave chase, the hatchet gleaming in his hand, but Tom's desperate flight attracted the attention of a police officer patrolling nearby. Officer Jane Rodriguez had been driving along the country road when she saw the 2 figures darting through the woods. Instinctively, she stopped her car and followed on foot. Her heart pounded as she moved through the underbrush, drawing her weapon. She arrived just in time to see Jared closing in on Tom. "Stop! Police!" she shouted, her voice firm and authoritative. Jared froze, turning to face Officer Rodriguez. His eyes were wild, his breath ragged. For a moment, he considered attacking her, but the sight of her gun made him hesitate. Tom took advantage of the distraction, running towards the officer. Rodriguez advanced cautiously, keeping her gun trained on Jared. "Drop the hatchet and get on the ground." Jared's mind raced. He had never been caught, never faced someone armed and ready to stop him. Slowly, he dropped the hatchet and raised his hands, sinking to his knees. Officer Rodriguez called for backup, keeping a close eye on him until they arrived. The news of Jared Wiggins' capture spread quickly. As authorities pieced together his movements over the past 2 years, the horrifying extent of his crimes became clear. 17 victims across 4 states, each murdered with chilling precision. The hatchet, now a grim piece of evidence, was linked to several unsolved cases, and Jared's confession filled in the gaps. In the months that followed, Jared was tried and convicted for his crimes. The families of his victims, some of whom had waited years for answers, finally had a measure of closure. Jared, once a phantom who haunted the highways, was now confined to a cell, his reign of terror over. Tom, the man who had narrowly escaped with his life, struggled with the trauma of that day. He often visited the families of other victims, offering support and sharing his story. Officer Jane Rodriguez was hailed as a hero, her quick thinking and bravery bringing an end to a killer's spree. As the years passed, the memory of Jared Wiggins faded from the headlines, but the scars he left behind remained. The highways and backroads of the American West, once traveled freely and without fear, now carried a reminder of the darkness that can hide behind a friendly smile and a peace sign. Jared's story became a cautionary tale, a reminder of the dangers that can lurk in the most unexpected places. The communities he had terrorized grew closer, united in their shared grief and their determination to protect one another. And though the name Jared Wiggins might be forgotten by future generations, the lessons learned from his heinous acts would endure, a silent vow to never let such darkness take hold again.